Hello, and welcome to episode 12
Yep.
of the
12.
IP3 podcast. I had a brief moment of panic because we changed up the schedule a little bit, and I was like, maybe this is 13. Nope, it's definitely 12. Today, we're going to be parting the Mistveil a little bit and talking about basically our approach to a new limited environment in Part the Mistveil. Um, I don't think there's any crazy big news to hit before we do that. And this is probably going to take a minute. Definitely not 3 hours because we promised ourselves that that will never happen again. Uh,
Correct.
but yeah, Nats is a few weeks away. Part the
Like three and
Mistveil,
a half, right? Yeah.
yeah, yep, 3.5 weeks away. Part
Let's
the
clarify
Mistveil,
US Nationals, which is right at the start of the season. Everyone else has a little bit more
yes,
time if you are an international viewer.
where our U.S. bias is showing as we all live here. Uh, but yeah, so our Nats is in 3.5 weeks. Um, Part the Mistveil release is in a week
Two
and a
weeks.
half, 2 weeks.
Week and a half.
Yeah,
Week and a
Two
half,
week.
yeah.
Two weekends from now.
two
There you go.
weekends. Um, but yeah, so this new set looks pretty pretty intriguing. Um, so yeah, our primary focus today is going to be talking through Part the Mistveil as a limited environment. So to kick things off, first we're going to look at sort of our basic building blocks for the format and the lens through which we're going to view the actual cards that are going to go into decks. Uh, so starting off with the heroes that we're going to be seeing. So each hero in Part of the Mistveil is going to start with 20 life, same across the board for everyone. Uh, and interestingly, for a set that has an illusionist in it, uh, everyone effectively probably has a weapon for the late game, which is terrifying. Um,
I
Which
love
will
it.
matter because there's a 30 card deck limit.
And if you don't know what that means, go watch the Calling Finals coverage where Michael Fun demonstrated what Enigma's late game weapon without a weapon looks like.
yeah, great example over there. Um, but the uh, talent for Part the Mistveil is the Mystic talent. So we've got Mystic Ninja, Mystic Assassin, and Mystic Illusionist as our three talent and class pairings this time around. Um, and you'll notice, if you haven't seen it before, the interesting blue resource pips that are currently
Mhm.
on the Zen card that is displayed. What those blue pips mean are that you need to activate that ability with an inner chi resource. Uh,
Kevin,
inner,
how do you get inner chi?
well, Alex, so fortunate that you asked.
You like
You
meditate for a while, right?
that is that is one way. Uh, the easier way is to play a card such as this, Homage to Ancestors. Uh, so there are a whole blue cycle of instant cards in the set that are these sort of zero cost instants. They're legendary, which only actually matters for the constructed format now. Fun fact:
Mhm.
no longer applies to your draft and sealed decks. Um, and each of these uh, cards that are capable of transcending uh, are sort of individually below rate effects. Spending a whole card to gain 1 point of life, generally not worth it.
You,
There's
you don't like Blue Sigil of Solace?
I do not, as it turns out. I don't even particularly like the red one, but people play it anyways, and sometimes it'll, win you a pro tour. Uh, but yeah, so Homage to Ancestors, you play it, gain a life. If you've played another blue card this turn, transcend. So let's say in this hypothetical scenario, you just had two Homage to Ancestors in your hand. You can play
Agreed.
both of them. Play the second one in response to the first one. and both of those Transcend cards would see the other blue card that had been played. And when they see that, let's see
And
if Inner Chi shows up here.
And
Okay.
specifically for the viewers, if you're not aware, you can't play one, let it fully resolve, and then play the second one. You can, you'll only get one chi back. You need to have both of those cards on the stack at the same time so that they can see each other. And then you get both chi back, which is kind of like Wizarding 101. Welcome to instant speed interaction.
Or the I've played an attack with Go again and would now like to double revel for 10 rune chance and Viscerai play.
All right. Well, some of us are Runeblade degenerates, but
That would be me. But when these cool Transcend cards come back to hand, they come back flipped as what you can see now, an Inner Chi Mystic resource. So it's a resource. It doesn't block, doesn't attack, can't be played. All it does is pitch for 3 blue resources, or these chi resources. And this is sort of a central component to Part the Mistveil as a set.
so
How you are achieving these chi and activating your various hero powers.
So we went from Blue Sigil of Solace to Heart of Yendel, gain a life, pitch 3 resources. I don't know about you. I think Heart of Yendel does win games I've heard in the past before. That seems quite good.
And you know what? I'll do you one better. It's better than Heart of Findall, because you don't have to be lower life than your opponent to get the life gain.
I'm all in.
We have power. Okay, they did it. Fab has power creeped Heart of Findall.
There's the clickbait title. Here we go. But something to note on these as well is that these are instant cards that you can put into Arsenal and wait for you to have a blue card that you actually want to play instead of forcing yourself into playing bad cards. And when you do that, it essentially means that you play another blue card on your turn and then play this instant. You gain a life or a damage or go again, whatever the Transcend card is. And then you get the energy back in your hand. So it's basically like you're arsenaling 3 resources for later, which is quite interesting.
Importantly, it doesn't work the other way. Just like block cards in pass limited formats, you cannot Arsenal Chi. Well, you can. It will be stuck there for the rest of the game.
It
You
would be
can't pitch
ill
things out of
advised.
Arsenal. So just keep that in mind. Like, make sure that you can get it out of hand at end of turn. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with it in your hand for the next turn.
Too true. So, going back to our hero here, Zen. Zen has an ability that is once per turn instant. Pay 3 chi resources. Create a Crouching Tiger in your hand. Search your deck for a card with combo. Banish it, then shuffle. You may play it this turn. So Zen is basically, using chi to do the classic ninja thing.
Yeah, it's
All
like
of the
strictly better Katsu, right? You get a combo card and a Crouching Tiger? Come on.
So it's better than Katsu is that you don't have to hit. That's not a requirement. But more difficult than Katsu in that you need specifically the chi resources to activate this ability.
Next, you're going to tell me that Crouching Tiger attacks for 0 or something. Come on.
well,
No, I
funny
tell you, it
story.
doesn't pitch though.
It does not pitch. That is very true.
That's okay.
But yeah, so Crouching Tiger is a 0 cost attack with Go again, attacks for 0, can't be pitched, doesn't block, and has Ephemeral, which means that if it goes to your graveyard or banished, it just ends up disappearing and does not
Also, these
persist in
cannot
those
go in
zones.
your deck. You can't just play these as crack baubles or anything. They cannot start in your starting 30 cards.
Yep.
Correct. So yeah, so Zen's whole thing, he's classic aggression. He's going to be generating these Crouching Tigers, trying to do different combo lines for value there, and attacking wide like ninjas do. And you know what's really helpful when you have a bunch of Crouching Tigers that attack for 0? A way to make them not attack for 0. which brings us to Tiger Taming Kakara. So this different looking Emberblade is pretty solid, all things considered, I think. It is a ninja two-handed weapon. It is a staff. Once per turn, action, pay 2 resources, attack with go again. When this attacks, the next crouching tiger you play this combat chain gets +1, and it attacks for a base of 2 always, and has go again unconditionally.
I was not ready for the comparison to Everblade, but you are so right. That is literally what it is.
As long as you can play Crouching Tiger, it's Searing
As,
Everblade.
as long as you can play a Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, so nothing too crazy to say here. The rate is fine. It makes your crouching tigers actually matter and do important things like threaten wards for Enigma. But yeah, all in all, it's just a fine value token weapon. Notably, there are only token weapons in this set, so there's no bomb majestics, right? You're not going to pack one, pick one, hot streak or dread scythe, and then just be like, okay, cool, now I'm forcing because I cracked this specific card.
Good change, I think. Heavy hitters was cool because like all the weapons were relatively flat, and there was a lot of differences. But I liked not having to conceal information about my hero and weapon at the start of the game. It just makes things a lot easier to just plop things down and get going.
Yeah, you just want to conceal information about your equipment suite now. But we'll get
You
to
just
that later.
have to conceal information about your equipment
You
suite.
are legally obligated to. All right, so moving on to hero number 2, we have new Mystic Assassin. News hero text says your attacks with stealth get, when this chain link resolves, banish all action cards defending this. And then her chi ability is pay 3 chi resources, instant, look at the top card of an opposing hero's deck. If it's blue, you may banish it. Until end of turn, you may play blue cards from that hero's banished zone without paying their resource costs. There's a lot to unpack there. It is a lot of hero text.
What a hero text.
So New is kind of this interesting attrition hero in this limited environment. There are a slew of new stealth attacks that we get in the set that I believe all have a base of 3 power, similar to the past stealth attacks we've seen.
At red, yeah.
At red, yes. And, so New wants to use energy to play free cards from the opponent's banish zone. Well, her ability to give stealth cards when this chain link resolves, banish all action cards defending this, makes it a pretty bad, potentially a bad proposition for opponents to throw. The classic thing is, oh, well, this is a blue block 3, it's fine. Let's just chump block and throw this card out there. Well, now you have to think twice about doing that when there's going to be a point in the game when you can activate Inner Chi and just play anything that you can out of your banish zone.
I think it's interesting. It actually like incentivizes you to, at some point in the draft, once you have a deck that you're happy with, just start taking bad yellows. It's just like, this is a yellow block 3 with no other text. It is a sideboard card for New.
Yellow
Or
Red Bull.
Or if you have the choice between a blue block 3 that has go again in some type versus a blue block 3 that doesn't have go
It does
again,
not.
then you pick the one without go again because
Yes.
New's not limited to playing one card for your banish zone.
She can
If
play
you've got a
all
bunch
of them.
yeah,
Yes.
if you got a bunch of 0 cost blue cards with go again, she's gonna play them all.
Yeah.
So her ability definitely adds some more intrigue to some late round, otherwise like junk clunker picks that would normally be like, oh, this pick doesn't matter. But maybe there's a world where it does. If you're like, I want to swap out a few of these blues for some yellows that won't punish me for blocking New.
Because still, remember, we said the 30 card hard limit in limited in Part of the Mistveil, which is something we haven't seen before. but we're still drafting 42 cards, which means you're gonna have 12 cards that you're just not gonna be able to play. So either of those can be like equipment pieces, which is totally fine, but also we haven't seen yet, but it might let you have room to pivot or stay open longer than 4 picks like you've had to in the past. Like, because I need those extra, like, to go up to 35 cards in my draft deck, or else I'm gonna get um, uh, fatigued
Fatigued
by
by
a victor,
Teklo, fatigued
or
by a
yeah.
Uzuri. Take your pick.
Yeah, I
So,
think fatigue can still happen in this format, usually by new, but it's very much a fatigue through damage, and it doesn't feel like I'm getting fatigued. It feels like I am playing into New's game plan of stealing all my cards, and it's somehow much more satisfying, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. It is the fatigue by damage. It's not. We're not living in a world where you could just try and block with 4 cards per turn and hope to win a game. That is
So
absolutely
opponent,
not
yeah.
viable in this set.
So our opponent's Banish Zone is stocked full of blue attacks. How do we give them go again?
Funny you should ask. I will beckon you this way with this beckoning Mistblade. So the latest Mystic, or I guess the first Mystic Assassin weapon, but the latest Assassin one-handed dagger in the arsenal is Beckoning Mistblade. Attacks for 1. Once per turn action, cost 2 resources, attack, go again. Standard assassin dagger text. Notably, does not have piercing 1, which
Yeah.
makes it the first. It stands out in that regard. But it does have an on-hit effect that is pretty different compared to the other ones. So when Beckoning Mistblade hits, your next blue attack this turn gets +1 and go again. So the cool part in CC
Very
with Flick
strong effect.
Knives is pretty awesome because you can just like flick a Beckoning Mistblade, get the go again thing, and spam some cards out of your opponent's Banish Zone.
why, yes, I would like to play a Macho Grande with Go again.
Don't forget the
For
Terrace Hunter
free.
first for free.
Yeah.
Crazy. But in limited, it is. So I would say, pound for pound, it's probably the weakest of the 3. But there's some balancing out that happens because New just gets to play 2 of these. She's got the resources.
Yep.
You've got 1-1 coming in. It seems like it won't be quite as oppressive. In Outsiders, the 2 daggers were, very very good at fatiguing people. I think it's going to play out a bit differently in a set when New can't just, run 38 3 blocks and hope that the daggers are good enough to get there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, last but not least,
Okay.
we have Enigma. Trying to. There we go. All right. Oh, we lost the link. Come on.
Oh no.
Get it together. OBS, you can do it.
She's
There
too
we
much of
go.
a mystery.
It's true.
How can
Too
you ever
much of an
find out
enigma.
what she is?
All right, there we go. So Enigma, our final hero of the set, is a mystic illusionist hero. Her abilities are: your first spectral shield attack each turn costs 1 resource less to activate. And then her chi ability is: once per turn instant, pay 3 chi resources, create a spectral shield token with a +1/+1 counter. And I didn't mention it,
+1/+1.
but all of these heroes have 4 intellect, so that is pretty boilerplate.
So Kevin's MTG boomer is showing. It is important to clarify. It's not a +1/+1 counter because it does not buff the ward as well. It's just a +1 power counter.
Did I say +1/+1?
You sure did.
Oh, jeez.
+1/+1. You put too many raging ravines.
No, it's walking ballista. If I'm being real, too many walking ballistas.
Never took you for a hardened scaled player.
Nah, in standard when everyone had to play it because all the 2-drops were bad. But okay, so Enigma. We have an illusionist. We're gonna be very ward based with Enigma, as we'll see later when we're going through all the cards.
Love it.
Rhea is a fan, to say the least.
Type fan.
uh, but to get a better idea of Enigma's abilities here, right? These aren't like deck tutoring crazy things, but I do think we need to look at Enigma's weapon, Cosmo Scroll of Ancestral Tapestry. It's an illusionist weapon, a two-handed scroll. Because how else would you hold a scroll? During your turn, auras you control with ward are weapons with base power equal to their ward, and once per turn action, attack for one resource. And then some other static text on it is your aura attacks with one or more plus one plus. I did it again. Your aura attacks with one or more plus one counters get go again.
+1 power. You can still space it out, same number of syllables.
Yep, that got. I'll fix that. I'll fix that for next time.
So combining Enigma's ability and Cosmo's text means that if you have a chi resource in your hand, pitch that to Enigma's ability. It creates a spectral shield with a +1 power counter on it, and then if you attack with it, it will first of all be free because Enigma's ability says your first spectral shield attack costs 1 less, and it will have go again because it will have a +1 power counter on it. So that is what we were saying earlier when explaining like the heroes and weapons. Everybody has something for late game, assuming that Enigma has at least one chi in her deck. That means that just like the other heroes, you can take one card and like your chi, pitch it, create a shield, attack for 2. Just like Zen can pitch a card, attack with the Kakara for 2. Just like Nu can pitch a card to attack with the Mistveil for 2, or 1 rather.
Yep, and it's actually if Enigma has 2 chi in the late game, then you can just juggle it because you can pit. It's once per turn instant, so you can produce a buffed spectral shield on each turn.
Yeah, your turn, my turn.
Our
Yeah.
turn.
Our turn.
Our turn.
It really is the wizard illusionist.
It makes me so
more
happy.
so than the others.
It's literally Icelander 2. Literally Icelander 2.
Cool. Okay. So this hopefully gives you an idea of sort of the general game plan of what's going on with each of the heroes. So let's jump in to the actual cards.
Knowing the hero's abilities and the weapons abilities should help inform the rest of these cards now that we are 20 minutes in.
And I think there is one change we're doing compared to our first set review video, which is in our first review, we talked about every single card in the set. And let me tell you, there's not a big difference between red Vigorous Windup and yellow Vigorous Windup. So we learned that, and we're going to walk it back a little bit. I think we're going to talk about cycles in general, just what is the card text, because you can evaluate the red's going to be better than the yellow, and the blue's probably the best version in a blue matter set.
Yeah, that's fair and true. And yeah, it's again, you're trying to transcend blues matter. Blues will have a little bit more premium than usual, but in the grand scheme, the usual sort of rules of rate still generally apply. All right. Well, who wants to kick us off with some ninja cards?
I can do that. We're gonna skip the legendaries and majestics unless there's something of note, because you're just not going to see those in limited very often. So we're just going to start here with the Heirloom of Tiger Hide, the Mystic Ninja Equipment chess piece. It has the keyword cloak, which means that when you equip it at the beginning of the game, you equip it face down. So that's even more important nowadays, that when your equipment is destroyed, you actually put it in your discard pile, and not just flip it over like a lot of people normally do. Um, so while this is equipped face down, at the start of your turn, if you have exactly 1 life, you may turn it face up. And then it has Blade Break 3. So if at the beginning of your turn you have 1 life, you can flip it up, and now you have a piece of armor that blocks for 3 one time.
Honestly, pretty correct. And there is a
Wow.
cycle of each of a cycle for each, or one of these for each class in the chest slot. They each have a, if you're at 1 life at the start of your turn, flip it up effect. I do
The
think,
power is very strong, Blade Break 3, but getting to exactly 1 when your opponent knows that this is an equipment piece that you have like access to and might have seen it in the draft can be challenging. So I rated it a B, just because uh, like Blade Break 3 is pretty crazy, but it might be difficult to actually get to trigger in some games.
yeah, we wouldn't be across the board on this one, where it's, it's powerful,
I,
and it's easier
yeah.
to, the more other equipment you have, the easier it will be to like manipulate that to get yourself to 0, or to not 0, to specifically 1 on purpose.
Yeah, I gave this a B. You'll take it if you don't have a chess piece yet and you clearly are in Zen. I am quite low on the heirloom cycle in general. I feel like equipment that is not block on demand, but instead meet this requirement, and then you can block with me, maybe if you're not dead because you're at 1 life and are being put in awkward block situations. This is not really where I want to be. And I think I would take later equipment cycles over heirlooms any day of the week.
Interesting. Agree to disagree, but yeah. Uh, so next ninja equipment, Stride of Reprisal. We've got some Mystic Ninja legs. It's a, when this defends, create a Crouching Tiger in your hand, and Blade Break 1. All in all, card's pretty solid. I think it does a
Good.
really important. I think if you're Zen, you really want this card in your deck, because if you, the on-demand access to a Crouching Tiger in a pinch is huge, because all of your synergies. Fun fact: all of your synergies relate to Crouching Tigers, um, and
Yeah.
so this has the potential to unlock you know multiple points of damage in a turn, not just
Yeah.
one.
I think this is like a B plus. If you are Zen, you will take it every time. I'm not going to go into Zen because I opened a Stride of Reprisal, if that makes sense.
I'm at the same boat there. Also, notably, if your opponent doesn't attack you, you can't block with it to get a Crouching Tiger. So that's something.
You're probably just doing fine if your opponent doesn't attack you, though.
Probably.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think you're ever gonna not be getting attacked, and if you are, you're already winning, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, cool. So next up, we've got Wind Chakra.
You don't want the other equipment first. It's not specifically Mystic, but the Mask of Wizened Whiskers,
Oh, great point.
Oh, true, 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 true.
which is just a ninja equipment, so it's a far away in the set code. But it's a ninja equipment headpiece with Blade Break 1, and says when this defends, put a card with combo from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. So it can let you get back
Unique
one of
in that
your
it
best
is.
power cards, which is good, but it's also just Blade Break 1. So again, I'm not, if I see this, I'm not going into Zen, but if I'm already in Zen, then I'll take it.
Yeah. Blade Break 1 is good in limited. Kind of weird that it's the only classed untalented common equipment in the set. But hey, It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's particular to note you typically want to be rebuying like your premium red combo cards with this so that you can fish them out with Zen's Chi ability again. So it helps your threat density, helps anti-fatigue, but it's not inherently powerful itself.
It also is nice that the cards you're getting back with the combo cards are 3 blocks as well. So even if you
Yeah.
don't end up getting to play what you rebought, you are putting 3 block back into your deck, which is pretty
Yeah.
solid if nothing else.
Okay. Wind Chakra.
Chakra.
The fanciest rise from the ashes you've ever seen.
Yeah. So Wind Chakra is a Mystic Ninja action. It is a 3 block, 0 cost, and in red says the next Crouching Tiger you play this turn gets +3. If you've transcended this turn, instead it gets 5.
Yeah. I think this is so. Chakra is a cycle across all 3 classes that cares about if you've transcended this turn, get an extra stat buff. I think this is the best of the 3 chakra, and it's not close. The fact that it just blocks 3 as the floor, and the red is more or less a 0 for 3 go again. I'm really impressed. It's probably a first pickable card, but I have it at like a B.
I seem to be a little lower on this than the both of you, but not by much. I just it not self-enabling at all, right? Like you have to have a Crouching Tiger already, or you have to have other things to
Yeah,
have transcended.
I mean the blue is really nice as a blue 0 for 3 because you play it, you hold priority, you play a transcend card, and just like 2 transcend cards seeing each other, your transcend will turn into chi. You can get the Crouching Tiger and a combo card from Zen, and then your blue Wind Chakra turns into a blue 0 for 3 go again because you have the Tiger from Zen's ability, which is really powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am a big fan of the blue one of this because it's a blue block 3. Like Rhea just said, you can transcend and then it turns into a red of just +3 to your next Crouching Tiger. But
Yeah.
also a blue block 3 action card against new, it gets banished. It's only buffing Crouching Tigers. So if new doesn't have a way to get a Crouching Tiger, it's basically useless to her as well.
It's a great point.
That is a very good point. I thought of that. But yeah, overall we landed on a B minus there for that one. Next up,
The yellow one's trash also.
Yellow's trash.
I don't know. It is a yellow 3 block that
Trash.
Garbage.
trash, purposeful chaff to not let new play good things.
Garbage. Companion of the Claw. 2 cost, 2 block. Losing me. 4 power, go again. 2 cost, 4 power, go again. When this attacks, if you've pitched a blue card this turn, create a Crouching Tiger in your hand. Okay, hand is nice. You can end up arsenaling those ephemeral cards for later. 2 for 4? Really?
Yeah,
It's surging strike, assuming that you get to play the tiger for a +1 off of
Yeah,
Kakara.
my complaint is that the cost curve with this and Kakara really doesn't work because there's no equipment in the set that generates 1 resource, so you always have to pitch 2 cards to go companion into Kakara. I'm really not here for it.
I'm in a similar boat again because of the cost structure, right? So with Kakara costing 2, there's a lot of incentive to play, okay, cool, let me play a 0 drop, a 1 drop into Kakara into Tiger. And that's a nice clean curve out off of 1 resource card. And
Yeah.
Companion of the Claw just doesn't play nicely like that. So
Yeah.
you have to be willing to eat a lot of damage to try and convert a Companion of the Claw turn with Kakara and other things. That's you're looking at a 4-card hand to really do that sort of thing.
I would rather just have the next card,
Yeah.
honestly.
I mean, so we ended up at like what, C minus to D?
You'll take it if there's no other Zen cards that are decent. Like 4 is still breakpoint, but it doesn't really fit the cost structure of what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The next
So
one,
what is the next card?
much
That's
more
so much
desirable,
better.
is what it is. Harmony of the Hunt. So this is a Mystic Ninja attack action, 3 power in red. It's a 2-block. And it says, when this attacks, if you've pitched a blue card this turn, create a Crouching Tiger in your hand, same as Companion, and it has Go Again. So
Notably, also 1 cost.
one
So
cost.
it matches up with your Tiger Cayman Kakara much better. So even just this pitching a blue 3 into 2 into 1, it's just 2 card 6 cross 3 attacks. Much much better than Companion of the Claw in my mind.
Yeah, definitely helps make your hands more modular. And again, the value on creating a Crouching Tiger in your hand versus Banish Zone can't be understated, because if you can't get the buff to it from this turn, you can Arsenal Crouching Tiger and, buff it with something else on the following turn.
Notably, I don't know if you all noticed this, but all of the um, Mystic Ninja cards that create Crouching Tigers, they go to your hand, and all of the regular Ninja cards that create Crouching Tigers go to the Banish Zone.
Mhm.
So, just a note there.
That is pretty cool. I hadn't noticed that particular fact, but that is nice, easy shorthand.
There's also stuff about the Mystic Assassin cards versus Assassin cards, and Mystic Illusionist cards versus Illusionist cards, but we'll get there.
We'll get there when we get there. All right.
It's fine.
Sorry, Harmony of the Hunt, I rated an A because I
That's
think
good.
I just want that card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave it a B+.
Different things then.
Not super disappointed to get it in just about any of the colors.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Tiger Form Incantation. Mystic Ninja action, 3-block, costs 1, and in red, it is the next Crouching Tiger you play this turn gets +3 power. If you've pitched a blue card this turn, create a Crouching Tiger in your hand, Go Again.
I think this is the best Mystic Ninja common. Out of the
I
3 we just read, it's not close.
I
I think
agree.
it's just another copy of Harmony of the Hunt. It's just a
The-
non-attack action instead of an attack.
No. But this makes a tiger and it buffs it itself. Oh well, okay. Harmony of the Hunt attacks. Okay,
Yeah,
you got me.
it's just like +3 power for your turn and create a tiger in hand at 1 cost.
I mean, what's nice about it is that you can stack this with Kakara so that the tiger comes in for 4, whereas Harmony of the Hunt is 3-2-1. It might be relevant for like Ward blocking out, or chewing through Ward by making blocks more difficult compared to just a handful of 3 blocks, right?
Tiger Form is also a 3-block versus Harmony of the Hunt, which is 2-block, but
Yes, that is the other reason I'm much higher on it.
I'll take either of them, honestly.
Don't play this in the middle of a combat chain. It will break the chain. Some of your cards care about that.
Very true.
Some don't, though.
Generally best
Yeah.
to lead off.
Yeah.
Not always, but usually.
Zen cares much less about the chain than previous ninjas, but there are certain cards that say if Crouching Tiger was the last attack on the chain, so
Yeah.
I rated it
it's
an A.
good. It's good. It's like an A. Yeah. This is a reason to go into Zen at common.
Agreed. Great staple.
Non-mystic cards. The Majestics are great. Play them if you open them. Aspect of Tiger, Body, Soul, and Mind, which is the first in a class lateral cycle that the name changes based on if it's red, yellow, or blue. So at red, Aspect of Tiger Body is a 0 for 3, block 3, ninja action attack. Combo, when this attacks, if a red attack action card was the last attack this combat chain, this gets Go Again and create a Crouching Tiger in your banished zone. You may play it this turn. Very unique. I believe this is our first card that combos without caring about the name of a card that it's comboing with. It just cares about that the card was red.
I
I think
so.
you're right.
Yeah. Very strong, because if you have good cards, this rewards you for having good cards.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
This is like an ideal extender, right? We were talking earlier. You want one drop, Kakara costs 2. You want a Tiger. Well, okay, cool. Play a 1 for 4. Jam this in. You get a free Tiger for your trouble in your banish zone. So if you have another one that got created in your hand, you can arsenal it. Yeah, this is a pretty ideal turn extender card, and it's a 3 block still, so the floor is great.
Yeah. I have it at like a B plus. It is an extender. It's not a starter, and I think I rate starters a little bit higher. But it is still a great card, and you should take it pretty highly.
I think the red one is significantly better than the other ones, but I agree.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right.
We gave that a solid B across the board.
Yeah. Up next, E Unleashed. At red, it is a 2-cost, 3 attack, 3 block card with combo. If Crouching Tiger was the last attack on this combat chain, this gets +4. So just a nice casual 2-cost 7, assuming that you played a Crouching Tiger.
I'm gonna give an ice cold take here. This is the best ninja common in the set. Period.
I would agree with you, except that it is a ninja rare in the set.
Wait, is it rare?
It is a rare.
It might be the best ninja rare in the set.
Definitely the best ninja rare in the set.
I think I still agree with you.
Okay, all right. Glad we're on opinion. Slam dunk A. Just take this card. It's legitimately good in all colors.
Yeah, I agree. This is the kind of card that can make the awkward hand when you're like, okay, well, Companion of the Claw costs 2. You can go 4-card hand that is Companion of the Claw, Kakara, Tiger, Key Unleashed for 7. Suddenly, having to hold 4 cards to do that looks a lot more stomachable.
Yeah.
14 damage for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's hilarious because Chi Unleashed, great card. On the other hand, Kevin, you want to read our next cycle?
Yeah, sure. Blessing of Key. Costs 1. Blocks for 3. Ninja action aura. At the start of your turn, destroy this. Then create a Crouching Tiger in your banished zone. It gets +3, and you may play it this turn. I think this might be my pick for worst rare in the set, potentially. At least the worst. It's probably the worst ninja card, I think.
Is this not the worst card in the set?
It might be. I didn't dig deep for this claim. I didn't want to be too outlandish. Worst card in the set, Blessing of Key, confirmed, having done 0 research.
Worst card in the set. I give it an F.
Yeah.
I don't want to play this card in my Zen deck.
The blue is a block 3. That's your best case scenario.
That's good. Yeah, that's legitimately good.
I don't want to play this card, but I can see a world where if you're trying to set up a kill turn, you can Kakara to like pitch a blue and then play this off the go again to have like the setup to go like take a bunch of damage and then try to kill your opponent on the next turn, but it's very situational, and I'd rather have other cards.
The ceiling on this is the Betsy auras from heavy hitters. Like that's the absolute ceiling, and even Betsy sided those out most of the time if they weren't blue. So not great. Moving on. Next up, we've got Biting Breeze. Biting Breeze. Good.
Yeah, Biting Breeze. The head jab of the set is a 0-cost 3 attack, 2 block ninja action attack. It has Dogen natively. When this hits, create a Crouching Tiger in your banished zone. You may play it this turn. Okay, so I was wrong earlier. Chi Unleashed is not the best ninja common in the set. It's the best ninja rare in the set. I think Biting Breeze might be the best ninja common in the set. And let me frame that argument. If you gave me a Zen deck that was 30 red Biting Breezes, I would take it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
Fair. I don't think it's better than Harmony of the Hunt, or Tiger Form Incantation, but it's up there. I think it's easy to look at this and be like, oh well, this just gets blocked for 3, and then they move on with their life. But again, this is a 0 cost extender that works with a 1 card pitch turn,
Yeah.
and just has the potential value of making a free Tiger. And yeah, like arsenaling extra Tigers is a great thing to be doing. It feels
Yeah.
not like cheating, but like, I don't know, just feels like great value to get to do it.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna push back on this being the best ninja common, but when we get to the one that I think is, then I will mention that.
Okay, I'm ready. I have this value in A minus. I see that as wildly higher than your 2 grades.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it says
I
a
should have had
C.
this as
It's
a B.
it's a head jab to me.
Head
I
jab
sh-
is a good card in this limited set, for the record. There's a lot of times you cannot get 3 value out of your cards.
yeah, this should definitely be a B plus from me. I think my rating's a bit dated. All right, next up we have Breed Anger. Breed Anger is a ninja attack action, 1 cost, 3 block, 4 power at red. As combo, when this attacks, if Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, this gets go again, and create a Crouching Tiger in your banished zone. You may play it this turn. So Breed Anger is like simultaneously a little bit of payoff and a little bit of enabling. Like the widest turns that Zen is capable of, this card is probably a part of that, at least in limited. Um, that said, I think it's just fine. I don't think it's not particularly easy to buff a second Tiger on a given turn cycle. There are
Yeah,
ways to do it, but it's not trivial and it's not cheap.
I think this card is quite bad. You have to have 2 Tiger payoffs because, like you said, if this doesn't also buff the Tiger that it creates, okay, did you really, or it doesn't combo with something afterwards? Did you really actually get value out of it? It's nice that it's a 3 block, but I think it is easily the worst combo card in the set, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Yeah, I can see lines where this is like quite good, but I don't think it's gonna happen super often. So in my head, it's kind of just 1 for 4, block 3, which is okay.
Tolerable.
So
But
yeah,
this next one is a bit more bang for your buck.
this
Absolutely.
is my vote for best ninja common.
I could concede that potentially.
So Flex Claws being a ninja attack action at red, cost 1, attacks for 4, 2 block. When this hits, create a Crouching Tiger in your banished zone. You may play it this turn. Go again. So in my mind, I'm attacking with Kakara, pitching a blue, coming for 2, and then playing Flex Claws, my 1 floating, and if they don't block the 4 breakpoint, then I am sending a Tiger that is the on hit after that for 1 more because of the Kakara buffs. It's just 2 card 7.
Hey, I've heard 2 card 7 with Go Again is good.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
heard that's really good.
Not to mention, in this set in particular, spreading that 7 across 3 separate attacks gets a lot of bonus points.
Yeah. All right, you've sold me. You sold me.
I'm in.
Flex Plus is great. Yeah,
It's an A,
it's
resounding
it's
A in red across the board.
it's an A. Yeah.
Yep.
Here's your premium payoff. If Flex Clause is the enabler, at common, Pouncing Chi is a 0 cost, 3 attack, 3 block ninja action. It has combo. If Crouching Tiger was the last attack this combat chain, this gets +1 and go again. 3 block, 4 power, go again. Card is busted. Also, plays perfectly into the cost curve that Alex was just talking about of pitching a blue to Flex Claws and Kakara into Tiger into Pounce and Chi. We're done. We did the thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Pack it up. We're going home.
Card's simple. Card's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid
No,
B plus A
yet
minus
another
material.
B plus A minus. Yep.
Uh,
One more ninja common.
last but not least, Untamed. So this is a 1-cost ninja attack action. Attacks for 4 in red. 2 block. And when this attacks, the next crouching tiger you play this combat chain gets +1. And it has go again. Untamed is solid.
Every time I see this card played, I evaluate it more highly. I feel like it doesn't read very well, and it plays excellent.
Yeah, this is basically the other way to, outside of cards that explicitly say buff your next attack. This is a, commonly seen, commonly drafted way to buff additional crouching tigers if you have multiples on a turn, or just stack the buffs. You can Untamed and into Kakara into Crouching Tiger for 2 power. That's totally fine.
One of those tigers that you arsenaled earlier, like you talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah. I also have to call out this art is fantastic. The facial expression on the ninja is great. The light shining through the bamboo in the background, giving fake tiger stripes. It's really good.
A plus.
A plus.
Companion of the Claw is still my pick, but I'm biased. I wish that card cost 1 so badly.
I don't. I'm looking through my ratings here for the ninja cards. I basically anything that costed 1, I rated an A because it matched the cost curve of the deck. So
Alex is a simple man.
yeah,
I see 1
Pitch.
cost.
I like to pitch
A.
1 card. Thank you.
pitch 1 blue, have no resources floating. Good time.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, let's jump over to Assassin now. Starting with the Assassin Snakehide.
Yeah.
Assassin.
So Heirloom of Snakehide is again a cloaked equipment. Mystic Assassin equipment. All the heirlooms are in the chest slot. It has the same text while it's equipped. If it's face down, you can turn it face up. This is Battle Worn 2, which is technically the same block value as the Blade Blade 3 that we saw on the Ninja Heirloom. The issue is no one in this set really breaks the chain, so it's very hard to get 3 block value out of this in a single turn. And you're at 1 life. So you really got to make it count that you can live at least 2 turns after flipping this face up to actually get value out of it. I don't know. I think you and I talked about this, Kevin. I think this is the worst heirloom of the cycle.
Yeah, I think so. It's not bad necessarily. It just is the hardest of the 3 to get sort of your full value off of on average.
I think New specifically wants the just generic mystic chess piece rather than this one. But if you don't have a choice, then you'll take Battle Worn 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's like
C plus B
Incredibly
minus.
medium.
Yeah, it's certainly better than nothing, and it has value over plenty of other junkers because it's not a card that has to go in your deck. But don't bend over backwards to take it.
you will take it over nothing is the perfect way to describe this card.
All right.
Up next, we've got Arousing Wave.
Good
Yes,
card.
a Mystic Assassin equipment arms with Battle Worn 1, and as an attack reaction, you can pay 1 resource, destroy this, create a Fang Strike in your hand. And a Fang Strike is a ephemeral mystic attack Mystic Assassin attack reaction that is ephemeral, and the target attack action gains +1.
Okay. Legend
Basically,
press.
it is a battle worn 1, pay a resource, deal 1 damage in a reaction speed.
Yep. And
Split across 2 reactions.
yes, that is
which will be
important
important
for
a
a
later
few
card.
different cards in the set.
Yeah.
But
Battle Worn 1 and Upside is really rare in the set, and I think it's fantastic.
yeah, I think this and the next equipment we're going to talk about are probably first pickable if you are already biased
Yeah.
towards Assassin.
Yeah.
But
This
very, very strong.
Arousing Wave is like a BB plus. It's really solid. Even more solid is Undertow Stilettos, Mystic Assassin Equipment Legs, also Battle Worn 1. This also has the attack reaction, pay 1 resource, destroy this. And it also creates an ephemeral token, which is a Slither. Slithers, like Venom Fang Strikes, are ephemeral tokens, Mystic Assassin attack reactions, 0 cost. They don't pitch, they don't block. And this says target attack action card gets go again. That's insane.
The ceiling on Slither is incredible. It's arsenal. You can put it in your arsenal.
Arsenalable.
Arsenalable. Yeah. So if you have a card that cares about having reacted, you could always pop the stilettos in reactions to get the value of having reacted. But if the slither doesn't do anything for you, you can just arsenal it for later. And if it's late game or you just happen to get off a transcend in the early game with some reasonable targets, Slither doesn't care what kind of attack action card it's targeting, and so you can suddenly run out at least 2 of the attacks from your opponent's blue banish zone.
All right. Do we want to grade this all at once? Count of 3. 1,
1,
2, 3. It's an A.
It's an A.
It's an A.
Undertow Stiletto's phenomenal.
This is a reason to pack 1, pick 1, go into new.
Fun fact, do you guys know that I modeled for this artwork?
I had no idea.
The stilettos or the slither?
It could be either one.
Yeah.
I don't know. They took a lot of photos, so.
All right.
What's next?
Next is our Mystic Assassin Rare, Tide Chakra. What does Tide Chakra do?
Tide Chakra is a 1-cost Mystic Assassin attack reaction, blocked for 3. Target Assassin or Mystic attack action card gets +3. If you've transcended this turn, instead it gets +5.
Man, if this card existed in a vacuum, I would think it was busted. But we're about to read some commons that are really make this card look just okay.
Yeah, that's fair. There's definitely, if this card existed in like Outsiders or something, it would have been huge. Or even in a non-mystic form, because a lot of the decks that are like, oh well, you want to play some of the good stealth cards and some of the good contract cards, and there are good stealth attack reacts and there are good contract attack reacts, but the overlap between the two is minimal. And now this set is giving 3 different very solid options that can just target whatever flavor of assassin attack action you're using.
Yeah. It's okay.
I see this is just a 1-cost 3-block reaction. Seems good enough to go in my deck. So
yeah. I mean, it's like a C plus. You're gonna take it if there's nothing exceptional in the pack, and it will make your deck. You won't be super excited about it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Fine in red or blue. Pretty crappy in yellow. Much
but
more impressively.
A card that we will be excited about playing. Hiss. Mystic Assassin attack reaction common this time. Blocks 3, 1 cost again. Target assassin or mystic card attack action. Sorry. Target assassin or mystic attack action card gets +3 power. New line of text. If you've pitched a blue card this turn, create a slither in your hand.
You know what's pretty good?
So
You know
plus
what's pretty
3 and
good?
go again.
Razor Reflex that is always go again when you want it, and a 3 block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. Card is very, very good. Resounding A across the board. Even the inferior colors of Hiss are still very solid. I think the absolute lowest we have is Rhea gave the yellow a B minus, but
Yeah, and that's harsh.
yeah, it's still it's just all good.
Yeah.
Value's great.
Just as a note, just like the ninja cards, the mystic cards create crouching tigers in your hand. All of the mystic assassin cards are reactions that block 3, and then all of the basic
Untalented.
yes,
Assassin
untalented
cards.
assassin cards are just stealth cards, not reactions. So, just a note for you.
Cool.
Up
Next
next, we've got. Oh my gosh, I chose the wrong card. Intimate inducement.
Yep.
Dyslexia is having a field day with that one. Okay. A Mystic Assassin attack reaction costs 0. Blocks 3. Target Assassin or Mystic attack action card gets +1. Look at the top 4 cards of the defending hero's deck and choose a card. If it's blue, it has 0 base defense. Put the chosen card onto the active chain link as a defending card, and the rest on the top in any order.
Yeah. So
So
this one's pretty funny.
I chose to show the blue version instead of the red.
So that's unique. So there's 2 interesting things about this card. The first is that it does not scale across pitch on power, which feels worth calling out. All 3 colors are +1. What it changes is how many cards from your opponent's deck that you look at. 4 at red, 3 at yellow, 2 at blue. The other weird thing about this card to note is that you can add defending cards to the chain link that are pearls that have a null block value, which you normally cannot do. But it is a way to banish, those pesky blue waning vengeances from Enigma's deck, as an example.
Or an opponent's inner chi.
Or an opponent's inner chi, which is even more relevant than the example I just gave.
Yeah.
And
generally speaking, go ahead.
Sorry, just remember that Nu's ability is at the close of the combat chain. She banishes all action cards that have defended. So hitting a blue off the top with this means that likely you are able to play it later as new by pitching to your ability.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to do this, and you're playing a reaction for 1 power. It's late game payoff.
Yep. But yeah, generally only going to want it in blue. It's a fine blue.
Yeah, start's pretty bad, so I get a D or a C depending on color. Card that is not bad, and a direct foil to Hiss is Venomous Bite. Also 1 cost, also an attack reaction. It blocks 3. Target assassin or mystic attack action card gets +3. Where have we heard that before? If you've pitched a blue card this turn, create. We saw Slither earlier. This one is Fang Strike if you were expecting it. In your hand, which is just a +1 react. Kind of like lunging press. It doesn't pitch or block. I have generally heard that block 3, 1 for 4 at reaction speed is a good card. Seems not bad.
I've also heard that.
Yeah, I mean the fact that even like the yellow of this has the same floor as like the red assassin chakra. You can put both of them on to be a +3.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Good card.
Not quite on his level, but definitely up there.
A minus.
Yeah, A minus is
I don't know.
fair.
Situationally, it could be better. If you're having to block with more cards, go again matters a bit less, and more damage matters a bit more. But
that's true.
Situations are situational.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you're playing into an assassin who's got some instant speed, prevention type tricks, the threat of, oh, well, I can follow up for another +1, and my gloves are still up, so I could do another +1, to try and mess with the presented blocks and uh, eat through as
There is
much
also
ward
a
as you can.
defense reaction in this set that blocks for 3. So being able to go to 4 off of one card is something as well.
Very relevant, yeah. That brings us into the assassin cards. Starting with a cycle that scales in name, body, soul, and mind, just like that we saw in Ninja. Art of Desire Body, 0 cost, 3 power, 3 block, stealth, assassin, action, attack. Remember, stealth does nothing, but some things care about stealth, like News Hero Power. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. Okay, so it's like some fatigue damage, cards out of deck. Whenever this banishes a red card or a yellow card for the yellow or a blue card for the blue, draw a card and gain 1 life. Insane. What a card.
Matters a bit less if you don't have Go Again to use that extra card, especially if it's not a great arsenal target, but drawing
So you're
cards is good in
saying
card games.
So you're saying Undertow Stilettos and Hiss go even higher up in our ratings?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know you
Checks
can get
out.
higher than A, but
I think this card is also an A. The yellow's pretty bad, but the red and the blue, I think I would just play as many copies as I can get.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even when we say bad on the yellows, people are gonna side in yellows to try and not let you banish blues. So even the yellow, the Art of Desire Soul is probably the best yellow stealth card you could. That's not true. One of the better ones.
Yeah. Also, the life gain here, surprisingly relevant. New will accrue quite a bit of value over the course of the game from that.
it's kind of just her payoff for not actually attacking at breakpoints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like oftentimes, if you don't want to get hit by something, you could just block 6, assuming that like they can't get over 6 with a +3 reaction. But if you're trading 2 cards for 1 card, you're playing into New's game plan still. So
All right. Next up, Bonds of
bonds
Attraction.
of attraction. I got it, Kevin. Don't you worry.
All you.
This is a assassin attack. At red, cost 0, attacks for 3, blocks for 3. Keyword stealth. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of their deck. Then banish a card from their graveyard. Whenever this banishes a card, if it has banished another card with that same color, gain 1 life.
Wow, it's almost like this is a blue matter set, and decks will have a lot of cards of the same color in them.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
It's not all right. We
rock
should
solid.
clarify. It's solid. It's not as good as Art of Desire, right?
No, definitely not.
Okay, so like B.
Yep. I think we got B's across the board on this one.
Notably, if you banish 2 blue cards with this, it does fuel New's ability better. It's 2 cards in banish instead of 1. But
also, if you need the life game, you're in the grind of the game, being able to pick the card from their graveyard, like banishing a random thing off the top, and then being able to see, oh, that was a red card. I'm gonna banish a red card because I need the 1 life.
Yeah, that is a very great point. That makes it not strictly worse by any means, for sure.
Definitely.
Double Trouble. Very exciting. The last assassin rare. Like all the stealth cards, it's 0 cost, 3 power, 3 attack. At some point, I think we don't need to say that anymore because it's just true for every assassin card in the set.
Fair.
If it says stealth, it attacks for 3 and blocks for 3.
Yeah. Yes. Double Trouble's text is, if you have played or activated 2 or more attack reactions this chain link, This gets +2 power, and when it hits a hero, banish the top 2 cards of their deck. This card is embarrassing without any support, and absurd if you have a Hiss, or a Venomous Bite, or an Undertow Stilettos, or an Arousing Wave.
Yeah.
Which is to say, like, literally all of the good cards in Assassin, Double Trouble just makes them a million times better.
Yeah, in a vacuum, I think this is the best stealth card in the set in every color. Because even
the yellow being
even
a 0 for 4 is pretty nice.
Right, yeah, even the yellow still presents a breakpoint, which is great. And yeah, I mean, if they're just letting you hit, right? If you've reacted twice and they're just letting you hit, it's a minimum of 5 damage. If they're like I'm no blocking this double trouble, you can just have it. Like that's great news for you. And banishing 2 cards from deck, everybody's only on 30.
Two cards is a lot of cards.
Yeah.
And the amount of cards is a lot of cards with only 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, card's great.
Yep. Definitely first pickable.
A
Yep.
minus.
Resounding
Yeah.
A across the board, it looks like.
Yep.
And now we're out of the rares and things get a little bit less impressive.
Up next is Bonds of Memory, a stealth card, so 3/3/0. When this attacks a hero, banish the top card of their deck, then banish a card from their graveyard. Whenever this banished card, if it's banished another card with the same name, gain 1. It's kind of just like Bonds of Attraction, but just slightly worse because you need specifically the exact same name and not the same color, which is much easier.
Yeah.
I will say, I think this is easier to trigger than you might actually think. If you're getting to hit, or if you're getting to hit and banish from the top of the deck, it's very common for, it's going to be very common for Zen to have 5 copies of Tiger Form Incantation and 3 copies of a bunch of things. And if this lands in the mid game when there's 5 to 8 cards in their graveyard, the likelihood that you can actually have a target to get that life gain is actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
It's incredibly medium. I rated it a C.
It's fine.
It's a fine stealth card.
I feel like outside of one of them that we'll get to later, actually, all of the common stealth cards are pretty interchangeable. In fact, I think we can speed run the next 3 because they have like 1 word difference across their text. So Desires of Flesh, Impulsive Desire, and Mind's Desire, they even have similar names intentionally so, are all stealth cards like we've seen. And they have the text, whenever this banishes a card type, gain 1 life. So Desires of Flesh cares about attack action cards. Impulsive Desire cares about reaction or instance. And Mind's Desire cares about non-attack action cards. You're going to play any of these because they're stealth cards. You're not going to get to be particularly picky. On average, it's probably like Desires of Flesh is better than Mind's Desire is better than Impulsive Desire. But there's not a big difference between the 3.
Yeah, I think it sums it up very well.
We rated all of them a C.
Yeah, it's just a C. It is the bread and butter of your new deck. Yeah.
However,
the
best common assassin card, I think we can all agree on that. Picked Pieces, stealth card, 0/3/3. If you've played or activated an attack reaction, this chain link, this gets +1. And damage that would be dealt by this card can't be prevented.
Whew, tell me more. 0 for 4, and it just eats Enigma's ward without any damage prevention?
Enigma hates to see this card every time.
Enigma is terrified of this card.
In a practice draft that I did, I got to give a what's the majestic, the +5?
Just a nick,
Just a nick. Yes, I got to just a
which
nick
is
a blue pick
in
to pieces into an Enigma and just like eat 3 wards and push a bunch of damage, and I still lost that game.
so rude. So rude. We're not reviewing Majestics. That card is in my early contention for best art in the set, by the way.
I
Anyways,
rated all colors of its pieces an A. So
yes, all of the colors are good.
I gave
all the base,
I
all
gave
of the
the
basic stealth
yellow slightly
cards.
worse, but that's nitpicking.
Of all the common stealth cards, I think I want this one the most, just because into 1/3 of my matchups it is very relevant.
Yeah, agreed. It's the absolute only catch up mechanic that Assassin has into a ward state that's established.
Yeah,
Cool. So that
well, that's
wraps
all
us
the
up for
assassin cards.
Assassins.
Now the best class.
Now we get to have fun.
Now we get to have fun. I'll lead us off because it's Enigma. Why would I not?
Of course.
The heirloom. Kevin said that the tiger heirloom was the best. I don't know. This one's pretty good. Heirloom of rabbit hide. Cloaked equipment. When this is equipped face down at the start of your turn, you can flip it face up if you have 1 life. Same text that makes it an heirloom. Ward 4 on your Mystic Illusionist equipment chest piece at rare. That's more than Blade Break 3 last time I checked. I don't know about you.
You're not wrong, but my counterpoint is this is more vulnerable and potentially abusable. Uh, won't help a pick to pieces scenario, and if you're like, oh well, I really don't want to block with cards, a crouching tiger for 1 threatens to eat your whole ward 4.
You are not wrong.
Blade Break 3, you get to choose when it defends. And you get 3 value out of that this way. This, you get 4 value, but you don't get to choose when it defends. It does play around attack reactions better. It's like, okay, new is coming in for 3. They have a card in their hand, but I don't want to overblock this. So since I have Ward 4, I am totally safe. Like, even if it's
Venomous Fang
the
Strike or whatever, and
Venomous Fang
+4.
Strike +4, I am still perfectly safe. And if it's not a reaction, then I didn't overblock it, and I'm still gonna have a good turn. So they're both situationally good. Situations are continually situational.
I'm at like a C+ here. I'm gonna take it if I don't have a chest equipment yet, and I'm in Enigma.
Yeah, fair. I put C. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah. What's the next equipment?
Truths Retold. A Mystic Illusionist equipment headpiece. It is a cloaked equipment, so it starts the game face down, so your opponent gets to guess what it is. As
Fun
an
fact,
instant, you can pay 1
Go ahead.
to turn this face up, and then you put an aura from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck, and it has ward 1.
So, fun fact, every equipment that Enigma can play in Limited is cloaked. So you will always start the game with all face down equipment, which is different from New and Zen.
That's pretty
Truth be
awesome.
told is fine. I have not found rebuying an aura to be especially relevant yet, because your chi endgame of making shields and swinging with them is relatively strong. I think we have better options that we'll get to later, but it's a perfectly playable common equipment. I will probably pass it if I'm in Enigma and I don't have a head equipment yet, and it's like pack 1 or pack 2.
There is an interesting interaction where some we'll get to, but some of Enigma's cards want you to have pitched a blue, and they get a bonus. So being able
Yes.
to use this as an outlet to get Ward 1, rebuy your best aura that you've already played, and then also get a blue card in your pitch zone to turn on some extra effect is definitely relevant.
So that is very relevant. There's a better way to do it, which we'll get to later.
By later, do you mean right now?
No, I mean actually when we get to the Mystic equipment that is
Oh,
not
gotcha.
Illusionist class.
Fair.
The other headpiece.
The other headpiece. Uphold Tradition though is insane. It's our last common equipment for Mystic Illusionist. This is like a constructed playable card for the record. Cloaked, arm piece, instant, pay a resource, turn this face up, put a +1 power counter on an aura you control with Ward. And it has Ward 1. Now if you go back and reread Cosmo, when things get +1 power counters, they suddenly have go again. So as a attack reaction, you can turn this face up, give something go again, and make it stronger in terms of like offense. It's very easy to imagine a world where you get 3 or more value out of this common draft arm equipment, which is an insane sentence to say. I have it as a very high pick. I think we all have it as an A across the board.
Yeah, card's phenomenal. It looks unassuming, but like when once you see it in action, it is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
All right, onto the chakra for the Mystic Illusionist. So we've got Moon Chakra. It's a Mystic Illusionist instant, cost 0. At red, the next time you'd be dealt damage this turn, prevent 3 of that damage. And just like the other ones, if you've transcended this turn, instead prevent 5. I kind of just see this as a like 3 block defense reaction against new. I think it's going to be very rare to transcend with the red or yellow. Although the blue, if you're able to play this and then transcend, it will prevent 3, and then you get an inner chi. So you could pitch that to Enigma's ability, block 4, if you're in dire straits like that.
Overall,
But
mostly pretty mid. It's not a premium card you're going after. It's something that you might play if it comes to it, but you're not.
this card is going to come back to you in the draft.
Yep. Yep. All right.
Yeah, I mean it's a block card that you can arsenal. Fine.
Yeah.
Not exciting.
What is more
See.
exciting is Haze Shelter.
Yes.
2 costs, Mystic Illusionist, instant aura. Ward X, where X is 4 if you've pitched a blue card this turn. Otherwise, X is 1.
So this is kind of like a build around, because you never want this to be Ward 1 when it dies. But it is very strong. It's close to a 2-card 8 because you can play it and attack with it, and then it dies next turn, and you got attack 4, Ward 4 out of it.
This is where a point where you wanted to like use a cloaked equipment to flip to get a blue card in pitch to turn this into Ward 4 is one of those spots. And then as well, just as a note, just like I was talking about the Mystic specific cards, is that all of the Mystic Illusionist cards are instants. And
Yes.
with the exception of the Moon Chakra, they're all instant auras.
Yes.
Where all of the Illusionist cards are actions.
Outside of a Majestic that we won't even talk about.
Yeah.
Waning Vengeance, perhaps the most interesting instant Mystic Illusionist aura, is a 1-cost, Ward 3, and when it leaves the arena, if you've pitched a blue card this turn, create a Spectral Shield token. This is a very tricky card, so obviously you also want to be pitching blues on your opponent's turn when they're dealing damage to you to get those free Spectral Shields. But like at the very floor, this is pitch a blue or even a yellow on your turn to play this and attack with it, and you end up getting 6 value out of that play from offense for 3, ward for 3. If you can turn it into a 7+ by pitching blues on your opponent's turn, getting shields, attacking with them, they die. There's really some room to do some crazy things here, but it takes a lot of work. I don't think this is your premium common, but very reasonable to play in Draft Enigma. So like that puts it at like a B plus for me.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And we ended up at a B plus A minus for Haze Shelter. We forgot to mention, but
Yeah, very similar. What are your thoughts, Alex?
On Waning Vengeance, I think it's good. I really like the red one. Ward 3 with so many attack reactions for specifically 3, and like Zen cards for 3, means that like when your hand doesn't block very well, you can play this to prevent damage and then also get a shield. Not ideal using 2 cards to prevent 4 damage, but in a pinch it can work. And like you said, also functions on offense, so I like it.
cool.
And
Card I
then
like a
we
little bit
have
better.
the best Illusionist card in this set at common and rare.
Waxing Spectre. Mystic Illusionist, instant aura, costs 2 to play. And then at red, if you've pitched a blue this turn, this enters the arena with a +1 counter, and has ward 3. So the ward is the part of this card that scales down with blues, or with yellow and blue. But the red, assuming you are pitching a blue to play Waxing Spectre, what you are effectively getting is 4 go again, because Cosmo lets it have go again for having a +1 counter, with the floor being ward 3 on your turn if your opponent is trying to punch through and destroy it.
Yeah. So like I said, this is the best Illusionist card in the set at common and rare. Period. I need to get on a soapbox here for a second. So we're used to cards scaling by 1 value as the color pitch changes from red to yellow to blue.
I was just about to mention this.
Okay, good. Because it's really, really important. Because of how Cosmo is worded, where the offense cares about how much defensive value they have, Waxing Spectre and all of your other ward cards that you attack with Cosmo, they scale by 2 points of value per pitch cycle. So red Waxing Spectre is 4 offense because it's 3+1 from ward and 3 ward defense. Yellow Waxing Spectre, that's a total of 7. Yellow Waxing Spectre is not 1 but 2 steps down from that because it's 2 offense plus 1 is 3, and ward 2 is only 5 compared to the red 7. The blue is straight up embarrassing. It's pitch a blue to play this card that attacks for 2 and blocks 1 is 3 value across 2 cards. I think Waxing Spectre is perhaps the card that we've seen in all of Flesh and Blood that scales the worst across colors, to the point where I have red Waxing Spectre as an A. It is the best Illusionist card that you can draft. And I have blue Waxing Spectre as an F. Do not put this card in your deck. It's atrocious.
You've swung me. I changed it.
Kevin,
Changed it
Kevin
to an F
immediately
also.
changes his.
I haven't given the most thought to the Illusionist cards in the set, probably to no one's surprise, but I hadn't thought about it from that way. Yeah, thank you. F confirmed.
Yeah. But if it's red, it's an A.
But if it's red, first pick. Absolutely. Alright, that takes us to the talentless Illusionist cards.
Yes. Alright, who's starting?
You can.
Okay. One of the weirdest cards we've seen in a long time. Astral Etchings at red is a 1-cost 3-block Illusionist action. Put 3+1 power counters on target aura with ward you control, which, in addition to buffing its offense, also says give it go again, if you remember Cosmo. Interestingly, if you control a Spectral Shield, you may play Astral Etching as if it were an instant, which means it doesn't consume an action point. This card is really good when you have a board, and it's a block 3 when you don't. And that makes it quite impressive in my mind. The blue is the best one because it's a blue, and the other two colors are perfectly serviceable.
Yeah.
I have this like
Yep.
I have this like an A
Yep.
or a B. Yeah.
A across the board. Good with them all.
Yeah.
There is no bad astral etching.
Up next, Essence of Ancestry. This is like the other classes, a scaling card with Essence of Ancestry, body, soul, and mind, red, yellow, blue. Cost 0. At red, when this, it's an illusionist action aura, blocks for 3. When this leaves the arena, if you control no illusionist auras, the next time you'd be dealt damage by a red source this turn, prevent it. It has ward 2. And then it scales by, instead of red source, the yellow one is yellow source, blue one is blue source, but they're all ward 2.
Which is really sad because don't get tripped up by that. It's very easy to think, yeah, the red one has ward 3. It does not. And I have been punished for that before.
How are we rating
It's
these?
it's like
It's a
the blue
fine
one
one
is
card hand.
the blue one's really good. It's a blue block 3. You can just play it as an aura. Ward 2 is double ward 1, which we'll see in some later ones. The red
The
and the
red
yellow are
one,
pretty stinky.
the red one's not terrible against Ninja, who's trying to play like multiple red cards against you. So like you can let this die to the Kakara, and then the pouncing claws gets prevented, whatever, because it's another red card. But quite situational. In limited, you kind of don't know what color cards you're going to be attacked with. In
Yeah,
constructed,
that's
it's
the
much
real
easier to be
issue.
like, oh, this class runs like Dromai runs all red cards. um,
Yeah, definitely a bit hit or miss, but that seems to be pretty consistent across all 3
Yeah, I
classes
mean,
cycles of that.
I have this anywhere from between a B minus and a D, just depending on color pitch. Another card that also varies by color pitch a lot is Haunting Spectre. At red, this is a 2-cost Illusionist Action Aura. Remember, these are non-instants, they do not have go again. Ward 4, and it blocks 2. Okay, it's not a terrible floor. When this leaves the arena, create a Spectral Shield token. Then, if you control no other Illusionist auras, put a +1 power counter on it. So if this solo dies, you get an free weapon that attacks for 2 go again, costs 0 resources, which is 4, 5, 6 on offense. This shield blocks 1 on defense. Well, it's pretty close to a 2-card 7 to me, if you asked me, and it blocks 2, which is not the best, but not the worst. I think what's interesting about this card is that the shield, which is a special shield with a +1 power counter, does not change across color pitch. It's the ward value of the Haunting Spectre itself that does, which means that it's a pretty reasonable card as colors change. The yellow is the worst one because like yellows are just bad in this set, but it's not embarrassing.
yeah, just another like doubly scales badly if you actually get to attack with it.
Yeah.
But
I
considering it
mean,
doesn't have go again and it's not an instant like the other ones, it's less likely that you get to attack with it. Oftentimes it's going to be, this is a defensive card that I'm playing down, and then it's going to give me a shield on the back end.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
makes sense.
fine.
Looks like we got A across the board in red, and then
And
C's and
much worse. Yeah.
C's in the other colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of another card that's really good on defense, Sigil
Yes.
of Solitude, Illusionist Action Aura, 2 block, 0 cost, and then at red, at the start of your turn, if you control other illusionist, if you control another illusionist aura, destroy this. But it has ward 4. It's kind of just like a 0 for 4 that you just play on an empty board, and now they have to try to get through ward 4. And if they don't, then you get to attack with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's a weird,
Um,
not quite a time walk, but like it, you know, there's incentive for your opponent.
oh, he said the
No,
words.
that's not. This incentivizes your opponent to not attack you till if you have another thing, so that it just destroys and you don't end up with actual value for your card. But at that point, you end up with implied value of, oh well, you just didn't attack me at all, and now I get a full grip.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not
I
good,
like
but
the red
it's
one.
fine.
0 for 4s are good.
Yeah.
But 2 black. So
it's like anywhere from a B- to the yellow is kind of stinky.
I think you're gonna
It's
get
like
this on the wheel. So
it's like a C+. You'll be able to wheel this card. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair.
Perhaps the worst illusionist card in the set. Single-minded determination at red is a 2-cost illusionist action aura. It blocks 3, which is this card's single saving grace.
damn.
When this enters the arena, if you control no other illusionist auras, put 3+1 power counters on it. It has ward 2. So across the pitch cycles, the number of +1 power counters, if its solo enters, is what scales. They all are ward 2. This card really confuses me because the 2-cost makes it seem like what you want to do is pitch a blue to attack with something with Cosmo that has go again, and then play this. But if you do that, the fact that you attacked with something means that this is not a solo aura when it enters, so it doesn't get the +1 power counters. So you have to pitch a full card to play this if you want the +1 power counters, which means why is it a 2-cost? I'm severely underwhelmed. It's a block 3, which is fine. It's like between a D and a C, and the block 3 is really saving it.
Yep. No comment. It's block. It's block 3. I don't have anything to say.
Pretty mid. Slightly less
Mid
mid.
is a good word.
Solitary Companion, which is a 0-cost illusionist action aura, 2 block, and it says when this enters the arena, if you control no other illusionist auras, create a spectral shield token that has ward 3 in red and scales down to ward 1 in blue.
Yeah.
Just get
I mean,
ward state on a stick.
yeah, it's good.
It has a, I don't know, tough to say a comparison to, but it's kind of like Sigil of Solitude in a way, right? Like there's plenty of cards that care about being the only aura or not having any. This one creates an extra one for you. And yeah, so Sigil of Solitude specifically, wants to be the only aura in play for it to live. And this one, so I think this is probably just better. I guess it's contextual.
This one will, assuming you're just like a 1-card variant, you can play Citadel of Solitude, blocks 1 attack for 4. There's not a ton of like 4 attacks in the set. Like all the stealth cards are 3. This, however, Solitary Companion, you play it as a 1-card hand. You've got nothing else. You get a Spectral Shield and Ward 3. So you're still preventing 4. But for example, against New, it'll block the Mistblade, and then it'll also block the stealth card that they attack with you after that. And versus Ninja, like it'll block the Crouching Tiger, and then 3 of the next thing that they throw at you.
Gotcha. So we agree Solitary Companion better than Sigil of Solitude?
Yep.
I am happy saying that, yes.
We should change our ratings then, because our ratings don't say that.
Ratings are a guideline.
It's true. It's to start the
Um,
conversation. All right. Spectral
Third card
manifestations.
that it doesn't explicitly scale double with the pitch cycle. But wow, is the red so much better than the yellow and the blue? Manifestations is a 2-block icky, 2 cost. Okay, we gotta do a lot of work here. Create a spectral shield token. Then, if you control no other illusionist auras, put 3+1 counters on the spectral shield token. And this card has go again.
Notably, the only illusionist card with go again.
Yeah. Making a really tall spectral shield, which costs 0 resources to attack with, and then protecting it every turn is really, really strong. It's a very good thing to be doing, just in terms of like raw value efficiency across turn cycles in any game of Flesh and Blood, especially in limited. 0 resource, 0 for 4 is insane.
Pack one, pick
Cards.
one, a bull in red.
Oh, I would take Waxing Spectre over it, but it's very powerful.
I think I would take it, knowing that I've got extra cards to play with in this set, like 12 picks that won't matter as much, because I only can have a 30 card deck. Like I'm willing to, if there's not more powerful cards, like I'd take this.
Yeah. You just have to be careful, because if it doesn't live for a full turn cycle, you spent presumably 2 cards, this and a blue pitch, to get 5 value, which is like the taps for 4, blocks 1. That's a reasonable rate in limited, but it's not where you want to be.
If it lives 1 turn, it's reasonable. If it lives 2 turns, it's really good.
Insane. Yes. Yeah, of
So.
course.
Worth trying to protect the queen. Cool.
Last classed card in the set. What do we got, Kevin?
Vengeful Apparition. Illusionist action aura. Cost 0. Blocks for 3. It has ward 1 in all pitches. And it says, when this leaves the arena, if you control no illusionist auras, you may play your next aura with cost 2 or less this turn as though it were an instant. If you do, it enters the arena +1 counter. So the portion of this card that scales with Color Stripe is the cost of the aura that you can put in play. So the blue put in as 0 cost. This one's definitely tougher to evaluate.
This is a card that you read it and you can tell in development this was ward 3-2-1 and they all put 0 costs in and they were like, this is way too powerful. We have to dial this card back. How can we make it worse?
They accomplished their mission.
They accomplished their mission. When I first read this card, especially the blue, I was like, oh, this card's good. And every time I have looked at it, both in constructed and limited, I get less and less impressed with it every time I draw it. It's a blue block 3.
I don't want this.
The only,
Eat your vegetables. Take your blue block 3.
I don't want this card, and if I have to, it needs to be blue.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a D.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the nicest thing I can say about it.
It's a D. Good. It's the nicest thing we could say about it. All right. So that does it for class cards. So now we move into mystic cards.
We're not at 3 hours yet, so you know.
It's true.
I thought that we just had generics left. We do have mystic cards.
Nah, that's okay. We don't have to hit all the generics because there's some of them that are real poo-poo garbage. So.
All right, going with the equipment.
Yes, we're gonna have some discussions here.
Mystic equipment headpiece, Aqua Seeing Shell. This is a cloaked equipment, so it gets equipped face down. As an instant, pay 3 resources and turn this face up. Draw a card. At the start of your turn, destroy this, and it has 1 block.
So this is the best Enigma headpiece because it is a 0 cards from hand spent way to get a blue in your pitch zone. Turn on all of your cards like Haze Shelter and Winged Inventions that care about having pitched a blue this turn, while also blocking 3.
Blocking 1, right?
1, yes.
Yeah.
May have thought about the legendary there for a second. Card's great.
Yeah,
In
important role
Enigma.
player. Important role player, particularly in Enigma. Yeah, I think we've got a note here that that's the best head slot for Enigma.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next
up,
Koi Blessed Kimono is the unclassed mystic analog to the heirloom cycle. It's not exactly completing the cycle. This is cloaked. If you have exactly 1 life at the start of your turn, you can turn it face up. But instead of blocking, this says when it is turned face up, destroy it. Search your deck for an inner chi, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle.
If
I
we've
think
learned
it's
anything from CC, tutoring a chi to your hand is incredibly strong.
okay. That's very true. So I think this card is really good in new because it's a 0 card hand that turns into a bunch of blue cards potentially with go again if your opponent didn't take out their tenants. I'm pretty underwhelmed with it outside of that. Hitting 1 life and also still having enough cards to present a real turn back to your opponent as Zen, very hard to do. As Enigma, it's fine. You just pitch it to hero ability, you get a buffed shield that attacks for free and blocks 1, but I don't know if that gets you out of any binds, like the actual heirloom equipment, which block well does.
So, as we talk about these equipment, just more notes to think about. Zen has in class a headpiece, a chest piece, and a legs. So Zen is looking for arm pieces, which there's 2 options. New has a chest piece, an arm piece, a leg piece, so it's looking for head pieces. And then Enigma has a chest, head, and arms, so it's looking for leg pieces. So they all already have chest pieces. I think that, like Rhea said, I think that as new, I'm looking for this over my heirloom because this is such a better payoff of I managed to get myself to exactly 1 life. I've got no cards left, but I get to play all your blue cards. Like we're in the end game, so there's a bunch of blue cards banished, and like I'm probably gonna get a blue card off the top anyways. I think that is significantly better than Battle Worn 2.
I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah, if anything, it's just nice to know in that class that there are two pretty reasonable options.
We're still talking about like a C here though.
True. Yeah, no, this is. I mean, yeah, neither of them are priority picks, but the ceiling on this card is remarkable.
Yeah.
But up next, Waves of Aquamarine. This is a Mystic Arm equipment. As cloaked, attack reaction, pay a resource, turn this face up. Target attack gets +1. At the start of your turn, destroy this.
Has 1 block.
Has 1 block.
Has 1 block without Blade Breaker Battle Worn, same as Aquasine Shell.
So these arms are I believe, the best option for Zen, as they're sort of one of relatively few ways for him to have combat tricks and reaction speed power buffs. Other than that, they're fine. Like they're a distant second compared to the assassin and illusionist arms. So I don't think these will be particularly highly sought after, aside from Zen
I think
players.
if you find yourself as the lone ninja in a pod, then you could probably wheel this card. because the other two classes are going to be looking for their class-specific RMPs.
Yep. Cool. And
Okay.
rounding out this Aqua cycle, we have Aqua Lapse, which are also cloaked. Attack reaction, 1 resource. Turn this face up. Target attack gets go again. At the start of your turn, destroy this. Has 1 defense. Similar deal. This is probably best in Enigma, if I had to guess.
I think this is an equipment without a home.
That's
I
fair.
don't know who wants.
Just,
I don't know who wants this
It's
card.
kind of just tier 2 equipment for everyone, because you don't want this over the ninja or assassin class options.
And
So
my
let's
comment.
let's real quick go what we're going to be comparing it to. So there's
Yeah.
another cycle of Mystic equipment for
Yes.
each slot that is all the same. It's all cloaked, and as an instant, you flip it up and prevent 1 damage. So
And
that's
this
what
is
we
the
are
this is the
comparing.
Sky Blank Keikoi.
Yes, thank
Crest
you
is
for
head,
pronouncing that because I wasn't going
body
to.
is chest, fold his arms, walker his legs.
Sky Cloak
Right.
cycle.
So there's 1 slot of
True.
that for each. So these Aqua Seeing Shell, Waves of Aquamarine, Aqualapse, Koi Blessed Kimono, they are all for, as I listed out, like Enigma is either going to run the Aqualapse or the Skywalker boots that prevent 1 damage.
Yes.
So that's what you're kind of comparing it to. I think Rhea was about to say, but the Skywalker boots of just preventing 1 and like saving your ward without using a card from hand is significantly better than having to, on your turn, use an attack reaction that costs a resource to then maybe block 1 on their turn.
Yeah. These things 0 block news dagger, 0 card block news daggers. They 0 card block crashing tigers for 1. They help you without spending extra cards from hand. Stop 4 power breakpoints from Zen. Enigma is a pile of vanilla damage, so like versus her, but they still block 1. There are better in-slot equipment per each class, specifically like the signature Mystic classed common equipment. But if you offered me a deal right now, which was in every pack of Part the Mistveil that I open, the common equipment will be Keikoi, I would take that deal. I'm very happy to just every draft for the rest of time have 4 Keikoi. They're very strong, and I think deceptively so. And that becomes apparent once you draft with them a couple or 2 times. To the point where my preferred Enigma outfit is Aqua Seeing Shell, Preserved Tradition, of course, but then I would rather have Skybody Keikoi and Skywalker Keikoi over my Heirloom or Aqualapse. That's my impassioned speech for limited common equipment for the set.
Makes sense to
Rhea
me.
really likes Keikois.
I really like them.
They
They're very strong.
also they are deceptively strong. So we
just
ended
as
up with pretty much C plus across the board for most of the Aqua cycle, and then C plus B minus territory for the Sky Kikoi cycle.
Yep. Okay.
All right. We're going to speed run the rest of these because there's a lot of sameness upcoming to some of these cycles.
Yeah.
So the first
So
one.
we out.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I just talked for a while.
All right. So the first cycle we have is the second tenet of Chi cycle. These are a series of attack actions that all cost 3. They are all mystic cards. They are, as all mono mystic cards. They are all blue. So pitch for 3, block 3, attack for 5. And then each of them says, if you've transcended this turn, this gets, and then choose your own adventure of the 3 modes of Enlightened Strike. So one of them says, draw a card when the chain link resolves. Another one gets +2, and the last one gets go again if you have transcended this turn. Mostly just role player, like they're solid, but they ask a lot, right? Because you need to have pitched a blue for this, have had this card, and I mean, so I guess 3-card hand you can transcend and enable it, but at the same time, they're just fine.
I'm looking at the meme right here where it's like corporate needs you to point out the difference between these two pictures, and they're the same picture. These cards technically say different things. You will get the extra text on them once every 5 to 10 drafts, and usually they're blue block 3 cost 5 powers, which
And
is fine.
New loves to see these.
I
I
was
was
gonna
about to say,
say,
don't play them versus New. New abuses them really well.
yes. So for New to be playing your cards, she will have pitched Chi, and very reasonably might have transcended on that particular turn. All these become free. The go again one in particular, oh, suddenly this is a 0 for 5 go again. It's a disaster. So those all
Yeah.
get dinged because they're such good tools for opposing news to use against you.
Next, we have the blue cycle, as I like to say.
The blue cycle.
Deep blue sea, wide blue yonder, and big blue sky, which are all blue 2-block different types of cards. Deep blue sea is a 4-cost 5-power mystic attack action. It says it gets +1 power for each blue card you've pitched this turn. Wide blue yonder is a 0-cost 2-block attack reaction that says target attack gets +1 power for each blue card you've pitched this turn. And Big Blue Sky is a 0-cost 2-block defense reaction that says this gets +1 defense for each blue card you've pitched this turn. So they all care about pitching at least one, preferably multiple blue cards in a turn. They all block 2, but they are different card types. And this is a rare cycle. Big Blue Sky stands out to me as the best of the 3. Deep Blue Sea can be okay in New if you pitch multiple blues to dagger into it. Wide Blue Yonder as a blue 0 for 2 reaction is fine, but in general, these cards are not exciting to me.
These are relative chaff rares. I'm not excited to end up with any of these actually in my deck. The one exception being maybe Big Blue Sky and Enigma could like have some extra potential, but yeah, not something I'm actively seeking out ever.
Yeah, no thanks. Moving on.
Yeah, time for more draft chaff. Let's go.
All
All right. So we've got
wasn't
a
kidding, by the
story
way.
being told here. We've got Droplet, Rising Tide, Spill Over, and then Tidal Surge, and then we finish with Wash Away. So first one, Droplet. All these Mystic cards pitch for blue, so I'm just gonna skip talking about that. So the Droplet attacks for 2 as an attack action, blocks for 2, and if you played another blue card this turn, it gets +2. So if you played another blue card, it's a 0 for 4 2-block.
I do want to
Fine.
I do want to tangent real fast. LSS story writers, by the way, or just like creative team, incredible flavor integration into the game that the neighboring regions of Volcor and Mysteria, which have political tensions, their talents care about reds and blues respectively. That's really cool in terms of like the game's flavor ludonarrative.
Is it supposed
All
to
right,
be a
keep
red
going.
versus blue reference?
Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
All right, and then we've got Rising Tide, which costs 1. As an attack, comes in for 3, blocks for 2, and if you played another blue card this turn, it gets +2. So it's a 1 for 5 2-block if you played another blue. Spillover costs 2, attacks for 4, blocks for 2. If you played another blue card this turn, it gets +2. So it's a 2 for 6 if you played another blue card. Then you've got Tidal Surge, which costs 3, attacks for 5, blocks for 2. If you played another card this turn, or another blue card this turn, it gets +2. So it's a 3 for 7 if you play another blue card. Then finally, we've got Wash Away. That is a Mystic Defense reaction for that blocked for 3. Cost 2, and if you play another blue card this turn, it gets +2. So it could be a 2-cost 5 block defense reaction, but you have to have played another blue card on defense, which seems challenging.
So
All the attacks we gave C's across the board.
Yeah,
They're fine. They're not exciting. You'll play them sometimes. You won't be excited about it.
These cards tell a really cool story across their art, by the way, but we won't get too deep into that because we're really late into this episode. Wash Away sucks. Don't put it in your deck.
Yeah. Best in
I give it an
Enigma,
F.
but not good. Still not good.
Yeah. F.
All right.
Yep.
Next up, another tenet cycle. This one being the first tenet of Chi. Moon, Tide, and Wind. These are all pitch 3, 0 cost mystic actions that block for 3. They all say your next blue attack this turn gets insert in Latent Strike mode here and has go again. So Moon says draw a card, Tide says +2, and Wind says go again. The interesting thing to note on Wind is actually, so it's blue action card specifically and not blue attack. So there's potentially some I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but
you can
Haunting
play
Spectre.
the Illusionist auras with
Yeah.
go again off this.
Yeah. So that's cool, but yeah, these cards aren't great. They're also exceptionally terrible to have in your banish zone when Nu is trying to activate her hero ability. These
They're
we
fine.
gave, these all are low C, high D territory.
Yeah.
And then
And
we
then
get
we
to
have
an interesting section.
So 8 legendaries in a row with the common Transcend instance. So all of these cards are blue Mystic instants. They are legendary, although that is not relevant for limited. They have some minor effect, and then they say if you've played another blue card this turn, Transcend. The cost 0. So I'm going to run through them quickly, and then we can talk about what are the best ones, what are the worst ones, maybe. Because you will want some number of Transcend in all of your decks. A Drop in the Ocean. Target attack gets -1 power. Homage to Ancestors. Gain 1 life, which is the example we used earlier in the episode. Pass Over. Banish target card from an opposing hero's graveyard. Path Well Traveled. Target attack gets go again. Preserve Tradition. Put target action card from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck. Rising Sun, Setting Moon is draw a card, then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Looting, if you're familiar with that term. Stir the Pot, which is a 1-word rules text of shuffle. And The Grain That Tips the Scale, which is the opposite of Drop in the Ocean. Target attack gets +1 power. So let me ask y'all this. What's the best one?
Homage, followed by Rising Sun, Setting Moon.
In a vacuum. No context whatsoever.
No context.
Homage to Ancestors.
I think it's homage as well, yeah. If I could have 3 homage to Ancestors in all of my decks, I would take that offer.
So I think the ones that are easily played are the ones that don't target anything. So like Homage to Ancestors, Rising Sun, Setting Moon, Stir the Pot, are definitely they don't need a target. But for example, like but the path well traveled, target attack gets go again. That's actually quite a powerful effect, but you have to have a target. So it's not, and you want that to be blue so that it transcends. So you get into a weird spot where it's like, well, I can't target this attack because it's red and I want the transcend, or it's like I can't just play out of my hand um, to transcend because it doesn't have a target.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're trading power for flexibility mostly. I think the exception is Homage to Ancestors, just because, you know, Hard to Find All is a good card, and it's does a pretty
Yeah.
impressive impression of that. But
I will say some of these are better in certain heroes than others.
true.
Enigma is most likely out of the 3 heroes to be playing on her opponent's turn, which means Drop in the Ocean, while not the best Transcend card for Enigma, is better in Enigma than the other 2 heroes. Similarly, Passover excels in New because it fuels the cards that she can steal with her hero power, whereas it doesn't really do anything for Enigma or Zen. It lets you banish Zen's combo cards and graveyards so that he can't Wizened Whispers them back, but that's about the only thing that's relevant.
Yeah, makes sense. All right.
Yeah, have 3 of these in your deck on average, which is how many you'll open in your packs. 1
Yeah,
per pack.
sounds about right.
Home
And that
stretch.
wraps it up for the Mystic cards. So now we are to generics. The first one being Blanche, this like dope gothic looking art. Uh, we've got
Where have you seen
a
that book before, Kevin?
no comment. We've got a 3 cost, 2 block, 7 power generic attack action in red. Blanche says when this hits a hero, cards they own lose all colors until the end of their next turn. So basically, this is on hit, your opponent can't transcend.
Hey, yeah, quick vibe check. This set cares about blues a lot, right?
It does. It
I have
does.
Oh,
noticed that.
that seems like good. It seems like very relevant then.
I am inclined to
Yeah, this
agree
is a
with
two
you.
card 7. It's an A from me in
Yeah,
limited.
Yeah,
no,
it's
That's it.
fantastic.
generic,
It's great.
non-committal, solid on hit. The rate and the breakpoint is great.
Mhm.
Blanche is solid. Um,
Much less impressive in
an
terms of generic
emissary
rares.
cycle.
Yes. So, like what we saw in the Tenets of Chi, this is each one of these 3, which do not color cycle. They are all red 0 for 4s, block 2. They have one of the modes of E-Strike associated with them if you put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Otherwise, they're just 0 for 4s. So Moon draws a card, Tides gets +2, and Wind gets go again. How did you know? Um,
So we gave Blanche an A. Emissary cycle. Actually, we've got a bit of variety on this one, but
really? Okay.
Alex has some of these pretty highly. I'm a little lower, and it seems you're the lowest. Uh, they're fine. I'm probably high. I probably would put C's again if I just re-rated from
There's
scratch.
there's a lot of things in this set that leaves you with spare resources floating, which these cards do not synergize with at all. They demand a whole card to be put on the bottom of your deck. And embarrassingly, they're printed right beside Wounding Blow, which is a common block 3 0 for 4 that doesn't ask anything else of you and kind of puts these cards to shame, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. If these were 3 blocks, this conversation would be a bit different,
Yeah.
but them being 2 blocks is just rough.
I have them at like a low C. You will take them because they're 0 for 4s, but they're not exciting at all.
Yeah. So next generic
Hold
attack.
on. I need to make my
All
argument
right,
here.
let's go. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
So Emissary of Moon, I'm not crazy about the like put a card on the bottom, draw a card. But Emissary of Tides, I'm just thinking purely like limited numbers. It's 2 card 6. Like that's serviceable in limited. And then I feel like I haven't played the the set yet, because pre-release is not for another couple days. But Emissary of Wind, I feel like in Enigma specifically, there's going to be hands where you draw 4 Illusionist auras, and like maybe you even have the tempo in the game, and it's like, well, I can play an aura and pass. Where this lets you, okay, put one of these blue auras on the bottom for later, forego again into playing an aura. My argument.
All right.
I like your argument for tides. I'll admit that that one's reasonably good. I'm not here for moon or wind.
All right. Cool. That'll just be more for me then.
Perfect. The card that I am here
Commons.
for
Oh no, we still have one more rare cycle.
is Gravekeeping. Gravekeeping is a 1 for 5 generic attack action, blocks for 2. When this attacks a hero, you may banish a card from their graveyard. Love this card in red. From a
Yeah.
chain ender perspective, it's perfectly fine in new as well, since it's going to give you a chance to fill up the opposing banish zone.
New loves the blue one, right? Because Mistblade buffs it to a breakpoint and fits the cost curve.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
This is also extremely strong in Enigma if you pair it exactly with Spectral Manifestations. Pitch a blue to play red Manifestations, which costs 2. You attack with the Spectral Shield for 4 for free. You end on this as your second card for 5, and then the Spectral Shield blocks 1. That's a 2-card 10 in limited.
Oof. Nasty. Red Gravekeeping, great. Blue Gravekeeping, good and new. Moving on.
The best generic common in the set.
Yeah, Battlefront Bastion is a generic attack action for 7, blocks 2, sort of, costs 3, and when this defends alone, prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to you this turn. So if you are blocking with a singular card, Battlefront Bastion is effectively a 3 block, non-prevention effects notwithstanding. It's also tricky in that, if you know your opponent just has if you know they have a Tiger in Arsenal and they just pitch something to Kakara for 2, you block it with Battlefront Bastion, the 1 point of prevention would float over to the Tiger if they were to follow up with that as their attack. The rate is great, and I think the defensive trickiness of Battlefront Bastion is very easy to underestimate, but then if you start using it and it plays even better than it reads on paper. So absolute A in red, commits you to nothing, fits in every deck.
It's an A in every color. They made an extended art promo of this card for a reason.
Fair.
Can we get a Guardian that looks like that?
Looks like
artwork,
this,
though?
and isn't Santa Claus in a cardboard box?
Yeah. All right.
Yes, please.
All right, next up, fact-finding mission. This card I don't particularly love. It is a 2-cost, 6 power in red, 2 block generic attack action. When this hits a hero, you may look at a face-down card in their arsenal or equipment zones. The peak is marginal at best. I don't think you're dissuading it. Like, no one is gonna block this out just to hide that information, at least in limited. So realistically, this is a vanilla 2 for 6 attack.
With the amount of 3 blocks in this set, it does not excite me.
Yeah, I've been very underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Too easy for Enigma to, oh cool, you threw 6. Well, here's my 2 block, and I'll play a second aura and bop you twice, and the snowball continues. I don't think it threatens a board state well enough. Plus, new blocks very well.
Yeah. Meh.
All right. Where's my welcome to Wraith Boomers at? Sound off in the chat. We got Nimble Strike back. So
without Nimblism, that's a choice.
That's not true. Nimblism's 4 cards later.
I haven't read it yet. Okay, there we go.
So Nimble Strike is a generic attack action, costing 1, attacking for 4 at red, and blocking for 2. As an additional cost to play this, you may banish a Nimblism from your graveyard. If you do, this gets +1 and go again. So, assuming that you have Nimblisms in the graveyard, it is a 1 for 5 go again. I like it.
That's good.
Yeah, it's
Heard
phenomenal
that's
in this
really
set.
good.
It's Voluminoism in a different form, or it's just it's cool that it's class agnostic. And it definitely fits in better with Zen and New's average like turn cycle playstyle. I would say. But it's nice that you can pick pieces of this combo and still not be making yourself commit to anything in particular.
Yeah.
We're gonna skip down and show Nimblism. Nimblism is great.
If you're playing New or Zen, yes, it
That's fair.
mostly does nothing. If you're playing Enigma,
It can block for 2. That's so good. It's really not. Nimblism, not for Enigma. But yeah, so Nimble Strike, we ended up at in the red at least at like a B plus A minus range. The worst colors scale down naturally. Similar with Nimblism itself, the red is probably like a B minus, and the non-reds are probably just unplayable unless you're quite desperate.
I think specifically the blue is incredibly bad, and you shouldn't play it because there's plenty of blue block 3s, and this is a blue block 2 with go again. That if New plays it, she's just gonna get a buff
just
on
actually free
the
value.
other attacks that you have in your graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you just don't want that one.
All right. Next up, Water the Seeds. We've got I forget what the Outsiders version of this card was called. But Plunge? Yeah, Plunge is right.
Plunge costs 2 though, maybe.
No, Plunge costs 1, but you had to hit. So this is potentially better because it doesn't have to hit. But Water the Seeds is a 1-cost generic attack action, 3 power at red, blocks 2. When this attacks, your next attack, this combat chain with 1 or less base power gets +1, and it has go again. So notably, this is another solid way to buff Crouching Tigers. It can buff New's Beckoning Mistblades, and all of the blue stealth cards are 1 power. Solid role player. Not super excited about it, but it fits in to pretty much every hero reasonably well.
It also buffs Spectral Shields. Those are attacks with 1 or less base power.
Yeah.
The red is just really good in any hero.
I think
surprisingly,
this is a great like pack 1 pick 1. I'm gonna stay wide open because there's no 3 for 7s in this pack.
Yep.
It's not like an exciting card, but it is a solid high C, low B.
All right, and we're gonna jump to the defense reaction. Evasive Leap. It's a red.
Yes.
In red, it's a 0-cost generic defense reaction. Blocks for 3. No other text. Very medium. Fine as a one of. Fine. Not excited about it, but fine. This card should just demonstrate to you how insane Sink Below is. They've downgraded it twice.
Yeah, talk about a card that scales terribly with colors. You want to play blue Evasive Leap to block 1?
Yeah.
That's what the card does. It blocks 1.
But at reaction speed.
Yeah, you want 1 red copy in your deck, maybe. I'm really
I see this kind of like Peace of Mind and Brush Off from Outsiders. Where it's like you want 1 or maybe 2 of this, just so that you can park it in Arsenal and be safe from a like +3 reaction from New. But
there's like 1 matchup it's good in, unless Enigma Astral Etches at instant speed, which is a rare. Just won't happen very often.
The ceiling of this card is a C. The absolute ceiling is a C. Yeah, this is gonna wheel. You'll see them late. Not a priority. It is a tolerable playable. But now
Speaking
for
of,
the piece de resistance
yeah,
to cap
the
off the
most
whole set.
tolerable playable. It's
The
Wounding
most
The
Blow.
most C card you've ever seen.
The most C card you've ever seen. Reprint from Welcome to Wraith with updated flavor text, by the way, which I think is very cool. It's a 0 cost, 4 power, 3 block generic attack. That's it. And that's playable. It's a C. I think this, like, by definition, is a C.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It is the definition of average. They'll wheel. They're not high priority picks. They're tolerable in all colors, and yeah, this is a classic. It's a classic.
It's a classic.
And it is tragic that they didn't just power creep Wounding Blow with those emissary cards, but we are where we are.
I think we would have been complaining a lot about the emissaries if they blocked 3.
Yeah, fair. All right, well, that brings
That's
us to the end of the set review. 2 hours and
I
20
did
minutes this
have-
time. We shaved off a solid 50 minutes.
I did have a bunch of notes written down, just stuff that I thought was interesting. I mentioned most of them like during the review, but I will say something that I'm just theorizing because I haven't actually played with it yet. But with a lot of 3 blocks, setting up a strong second cycle or like purposefully pitching like a red card that is gonna like pay off big in the second cycle, I feel like that's gonna end up being the difference between winning games and then winning consistently. And then while you are pitching chi, make sure you pitch other cards that block with them next to them.
You don't want to draw a hand of 4 chi.
What if you don't have another choice?
Stir the pot.
Well,
That's why we
don't get to
stir the
that
pot.
part in the game then.
That's true. I definitely had a practice draft. I drew all 4 of my chi. I had 1 in Arsenal and then drew a hand that had the other 3. And so I blocked for 3 with that last card and gained 3 life, made 4 chi, and drew and bottomed the best card in my deck. And that was that.
That's rough, buddy.
It was rough. It looked really cool, and then naturally I couldn't get my number of cards drawn offset throughout the game, so I ripped them all at once. Fun times.
Thanks for watching / listening. Comment what card you're most excited for out of the expansion slot cards.
And it's a expansion slot. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
wasn't
why
prepared
is
for
it
that
Eloquent
one.
Eulogy?
And why is it Arcane Barrier Evos?
Because your name's Jesse.
But
yeah,
as always, like this if you want to. Subscribe.
Post balloons in the comments. There won't be a giveaway this time, but you can still post balloons in the comments to signify that you made it all the way to the end of this set review.
Thanks for watching, everybody. And thanks for sticking through another long one. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
We appreciate it.
We will catch you in 2 weeks for another episode. Not
another set review. Straight back into it.
Another episode of IP3.
Until
See you
next
then,
time.
everybody.
Later.